Good day, students. I wish you happy weekend. Um, my apology in the first place for unable to get with you all this while. I've been trying to follow the format being given by Dr. Adesina in order to be able to upload my lectures and my notes through the platform. But I've been having difficulties in getting up or in doing it effectively. But I'll keep on trying it until I get it perfect. I'm having all the lectures and the video in record in my archive, and immediately I get it done, I will upload everything to your email address. You will get the notes and likewise the video. So this morning is going to be, or today's lecture is going to be our third time in this semester. The other ones, as I've said, I'm going to forward them to you as the day goes by. So today we are going to look at this course, that's Peace Research Methods. That the course code is PCR 312. Last week we were able to look at the Module 1 Unit 1. Today we are looking at Module 1 Unit 2. And in the next subsequent ones, I'm going to combine all. That's from Module 3 down to 5. In this in the Module 1, I'm going to combine Unit 3 to 4 or to 5, so I can be able to finish it next week. And that is what I'm going to be doing in other subsequent weeks that we are going to be meeting. And as I promised you that I'm going to be sending it to you through my email. You can be able to get my details, my contact details. My email address is bayoasala@gmail.com, while my phone number, the first one MTN, which I also use for my social media, can contact me through WhatsApp and call me at any time of the day. The phone number is 0813 556 4321. The second one is 0812 222 5652. So I'll be expecting any comment or any feedback from you. Now back to the business of the day. We are looking at Module 1 Unit 2, which is Science and Research. Science and Research. Under the main content we are going to look at in the descriptions of science and research, identify 5 sources of knowledge that you can use to write your research. And the third one, we are going to look at types of error in human inquiry. Why the fourth one is characteristics of science methods. So let's now go quickly into what we have. So what is science? Science is a word that is commonly used by everyone, and then it is being assumed by different people that use this of different meaning. That people give different meaning to it. Some people consider science as mathematics, that anything that goes along with calculation or math, so it's science. For others, it is what people that wear coats and go to laboratories to go and perform experiment, they are being referred to as science. And then some even try as much as possible to confuse science with technology, or try to equal science with difficult subjects or difficult courses, either in the colleges or in the universities. Science is a process of inquiry. Science is a process of inquiry. We should get it there. That when you are trying to inquire to know, the cause of this and then the solution to it is a science. So science is a way of learning and knowing things about the world around us, the world which we use, and it also uses logic, observation, and theory. These are the three components that is very important in science. It uses logic, observation, and theory. Science has some special characteristics. Science has some special characteristics. And then what are these special characteristics? Scientific thinking makes sense. That's it is logical. And then it also has a reference. That's it has evidence. It has evidence, observed evidence. And it also gives explanation of how things happen. That's items. These are the things that make science to be quite distinct from others. Science is sometimes characterized as logical empirical. These ugly terms carries an important message. The two pillars of science are one, logic or rationality, and then the second one is observation. A scientific understanding of the world must make sense and correspond with what we observe. The word research is made up of two syllables. We have re, that's an R-E, and then we also have a research, and we also have a search. So what is the prefix re there? What does it really mean? It means the prefix there, it means that again, and the word search there is a verb that means to look for something. To look for something. So by the time we combine the prefix and the nouns together, we are going to have a syllabus which means which is going to form a noun, and then it means it means to look again, to look at it again, or to look at again. That is what the word research is all about. There are some authorities, according to the dictionaries, that have defined research as a careful or critical inquiry or examination in seeking facts or principle, diligent observation in order to ascertain something. Critical inquiry or observation and diligent observation are the key words in definition. That's trying to define what research is all about. So if you are carrying out a research, you know that you have to be diligent, you have to observe things, and then you have to make sure that you are accurate in whatever that you are carrying out, because you have been able to identify a problem and you are trying as much as possible to find solution to this problem. This implies a certain systematic procedure and certain logic appropriate to be followed in the search for facts or principles, or for the purpose of ascertaining something. So this method of research is known as the scientific method, and it is this scientific method that you are going to use to carry out your project, to write your project. Because if you have picked up a point, that's a topic. That topic is an embodiment of problem, and you are going to make sure that you find answers or solution to this problem. The term research is used in connection with scientific exploration, both in the field of the physical and the social sciences. It applies as the Encyclopedia of Science points out: the manipulation of things, concept or symbols for the purpose of generalizing to the extent correct or verified knowledge, whether that knowledge aid in the construction of a theory or in the practice of an art. This is another definition of an encyclopedia, to the word research. So let us now look at sources of general knowledge. Sources of general knowledge. Sources of general knowledge are within us, but the problem that you are having is that if you have not really studied, you may not know that these are the sources of knowledge. One of it is the tradition, the value, the culture, what people believes in, the principle, the way of life of the people. And then these are the source of knowledge for you to be able to find, for you to be able to find solution to the problem that you are carrying out a research. And then the second one is authority. The mode of knowledge is sought by socially and politically look upon people as having knowledge, especially trainings, expertise, and credentials. Authorities, there are some that the people that you go through, there are some places that you go to that you are going to find a solution or answer to the problem that you are trying to answer in your research. And then the third one is mythification. Mythification is a belief that knowledge is found in the supernatural source. People with this knowledge, with this knowledge of mythification, that's why you see people going to sorcerers, going to prophets, going to imams, and then when they get there, they have their own instrument or carrying out the answer or the solution to whosoever or customer that has come to them. So it is mythification, and then these people profess to have the power to receive and decode supernatural messages. What they have, we have a very good example of it in the Bible, when a king of Babylon dreamt, and then could not even call on all the magicians in order for he told them that cannot even remember the dream. But he believes that through their mystical power, their mystical means, they can be able to resolve it. And then one of them was able to find answer to it. So these are there. Then we have another one is common sense. Those people doesn't really try as much as possible to believe in this, but it works. The fifth one is scientific knowledge or rational mode. It has to do with scientific investigation of knowledge acquired through scientific inquiry. Scientific knowledge is based on rationality's mode of reasoning. And then we have another one here, that's the media myths. The media myths is very common these days, where people use the social medias, the internet, the radio, the newsprint, that's the newspapers and other sources, to be able to find solution to. So when you are carrying out your research, all these sources of knowledge are very important for you to tap into them in order for you to be able to find answers to your questions. So these are the sources that you are going to look for critically during the field of your research. And then let us look at errors in human inquiry. We are all human. Every man is not perfect. And once that someone is carrying out a research, there is tendency to be a lacuna. And this tendency, and then this lacuna that is going to be created, it is another avenue for someone, a young graduate, a young scientist, to be able to advance on it. So don't ever think that when you are writing a project, you are writing an 100% project and then you are finding solutions to it. No, there must be a lacuna. Like me, when I was carrying out my research, I went to Republic of Sudan to seek for visa. The Sudan could not give me because I was researching into the courses. That's I'm looking at the patterns and the processes of resolving the conflict in Sudan that lasted for the period of 191 years. So on getting to the embassy here in Nigeria, the embassy of the Republic of Sudan, I was turned down. I was not given visa. So I went to the Republic of South Sudan, and I was given. So I was in Sudan for some months, and then from there I carried out. So by the time I came back to Nigeria, I submitted my report, and I was able to have my PhD thesis. But I left a lacuna. Republic of Sudan, I was not allowed to be there for security reasons. So if any other person can carry out a research too and go to North Sudan in order to be able to cover the areas which have not been covered, that is what we are saying, that there are errors in human inquiries, and these errors can also be rectified. So you can read it in your module that the following types of error are always in which science provides safeguards against these errors. Inaccurate observation. Your observation in the lab may not be correct. It might be correct, but it might not be accurate, totally accurate. Let me put it this way. It might be correct, but it may not be totally accurate. So when another person can pick up from there as much as possible to know what things really goes on. So science guide against selective observation by using a research design. We specify the number and the kind of observation we need before we can make a conclusion. Let us now look at the characteristics of scientific methods. One, we have empirical inquiry. The scientific methods has its procedure, such as observation and measurement. In research, the researcher chooses its subject or subjects of study, observe it and measure it. So one of the characteristics is that empirical inquiry. You have to choose your subject, your topic, and you try as much as possible to carry out your own research into it. And then number two is your language of science. Science has its own language, what you can refer to as a registered language. So if you are writing as a scientific, and if you are writing as a social science student, it has its own language, and you have to make sure that you conform with this language. It is this language that can help you to be able to forge ahead and do the appropriate things. So it has its own language. And then number three, assumption in science. Let us see whether science embrace or welcome assumption. Science is logical and rational. It has its own assumptions, which it uses in explaining world realities. These assumptions are often hidden, and they have a power to influence our understanding reality. It is important to know and state your basic assumption when you are investigating a topic, because these assumptions will influence your research design, the type of measurement you use, your interpretation of findings, and even the kind of questions you formulate in your research. And then the fourth one there is perceptionability. So this one is very important, and you have to take it into it. So let us now look at the last one there, limitation. Limitation, there is no any research that does not have its own limitation. And then this limitation can be seen from 3 points. It can be seen from the right people you have contact with. The right people, because you may not have access to all the right people at the right time. Like me, when I went down to Juba in South Sudan, there are some warlords that I plan to meet, but I could not be able to meet them. So, but I met some right people, but it is not every one of them. It was not every one of them that I met with. And then the second one is time is a limitation in research work. I could have still been in South Sudan by now, carrying out this. But the visa, even the date on the visa or my, at an expiring date. So time is it. You cannot have your time to be carrying out this research in the university. Look at it. Your exam is fast approaching, and then it is expected that you finish your research work before or immediately after your exam. So time is not there. And then we also have communication. Communication can also be a limitation between the researcher and the scientific community. So a good scientific practice demands that we understand the limitation of our observation and that we make this limitation clear in our research report. In conclusion, the importance and relationship between research and science are numerous, are varied, they are very many, such that man can hardly survive in this present world without depending directly or indirectly on science. For example, it should be realized that we use research in solving problems and challenges confronting human beings today, like the one that we're having in Nigeria, this issue of kidnapping, bandit activities, and Boko Haram, and some other intra or inter-communal clashes or crises in our society. So these are the things that we are trying to do. And then in summary, in this unit, we have been able to explain the meaning of science, the meaning of research, and also identify and discuss various sources of knowledge. Characteristics of scientific methods of inquiry were also discussed, coupled with different types of error being faced or that could be encountered in human inquiry. So this is it. And then in our subsequent class, I'm going to take the remaining units in this module so that I can be able to meet up with the time. So my challenges in uploading this video and my notes on your email, I will try as much as possible to resolve it. And immediately I do that, things will be flowing as when due. Thank you very much. Till we meet again in the next class. My name is Dr. Bayo Asala. Thank you.